Hello everybody, I'm Rusty. I want to welcome you to Island Breeze Tropicals. So today we're going to be asking the question, is this the worst potting soil that you could use for your bromeliads? So you know what? The sun is shining, the island breeze is blowing. It's time that you and I got growing. Come on, let's have some fun. And why don't we take a look at this potting soil and find out whether it's the worst that we can use on our bromeliads. So if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. It's great to have you with us. If you like what you see, could you do me a favor and hit that like button down there? And why don't you become a member of our bromeliad family and become a subscriber? Thanks a lot. Now let's get to today's video. So before we get started, I have to admit, the worst potting mix that we can use, well, that's a bit of a teaser, but I still am going to make my case where I think that this particular potting mix is not the best that we want to use for most of our bromeliads. Now, what are we talking about? Well, I'm going to show you a close-up, but this is a totally mineral-based mix. Okay, so why is that a problem? Well, there are two things that I want to go into. The first one is called cation exchange capacity, or CEC. And basically what that means is how well will our potting mixes hold on to nutrients, specifically fertilizer that we put in them for our bromeliads. Now, it's all about the electrical charge of the soil. And when we have an inorganic mix, it has an electrical charge that's going to be the same as our nutrient. And when we have an organic mix, it's going to have a different electrical charge. So here's a little bit of a representation. So if you take a look, we have a plus and a minus electrical charge. And what that means is that our potting mix can hold on to any nutrient, any nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium, any macro or micro elements in our potting mixes. But when we have a totally inorganic or a mineral mix, our nutrient and our potting mix have the same charge. Well, that means that they will not attract to one another, and it means that our inorganic mix is going to be really, really soluble, and we will not be getting the nutrient that we need to our bromeliads. It will go right through. Now, the other thing is going to be rooting, and we'll go into this a little bit later, but we have some bromeliads that can be a little difficult to root, especially like Cryptanthus. And I've seen Dickia, when you separate them, there's not much of a root system. Well, if you use an organic mix, and if it holds on to more moisture and yet drains at the same time, that's going to be really conducive to getting root growth on our pups. So why don't I show you a close-up, and that'll make it a little bit more clear when we look at both of the mixes. So this is a close-up of the inorganic mix, and as you can see, there is pumice in here and other aggregate, but this is all inorganic. This is all mineral. So you can see that this is all inorganic. Yes, it's different aggregate, but none of this is organic. This is all mineral, as opposed to this mix, and this is all organic. This is what I grow my bromeliads in. You can see that there are chunks of cocoa husk in here, and there is probably some ground peat and a little bit of coir and some different bark. This does drain very, very well, but this mix will hold on to not only water, and hopefully in the right amount and not get too soggy, and it will also hold on to any fertilizer that we might put in it. Remember, we're not going to be putting any kind of fertilizer down in the cup of our bromeliad, and the fertilizers that we're going to use are going to be very slow release with low nitrogen. And we have a video about how to fertilize bromeliads, so you might want to take a look at that. We're not going to go into that in depth right here, but this is the kind of potting mix that I prefer to use. So why don't we do a porosity test and see exactly how well these two hold on to some water. So okay, we're going to do a porosity test, and basically I'm just going to water each one of our two. Going to start with the inorganic mix, and as you can see, we have a bowl right here, and I have a mesh screen, and I'm going to put that right over top there and see if we can get that a little centered. And I have 3 cups of water, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly as I can, pour this into the pot with our inorganic mineral mix. Almost there, and as you can hear, it's draining down in to our clear bowl, and we're going to have to drain all of it, so I'm going to let that happen, and then we're going to do our organic mix the same way. So we have our inorganic mix. It's completely drained, I think. Yeah, a couple drops still coming out there. And what I'm trying to do is get it closer to the drainage holes here. But that's about it. So we got that, and we're going to set this bowl aside. And we have a clean bowl right here. And we're going to be taking bowl number 2 with our organic mix, and we're going to be doing the same thing. Let's see if I can get this a little bit further back here and centered. Let's see if we can do that. How's that? Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. 3 cups of water in our organic mix, and we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did with our inorganic mix. And as you can probably hear, the microphone's working correctly today, that the water has poured through. And then what we're going to do is go through the same process and allow this to drain. I'm not going to bore you with that, and then we'll come back. Okay, so after a minute or two, our organic mix has been drained. We're going to take away our screen, and as you can see, we have 2 bowls, and this bowl right here is the organic mix. I'm going to put the organic mix in back of it, and this bowl is the inorganic or the mineral mix, and we're going to see how much of a difference in the amount of liquid we have. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to move this out of the way. That's the organic, and we are going to pour our inorganic mix water, and we'll see what we have. You may be able to see some of the residue right there in the bowl, and that's just dust because it is inorganic. And what we have, let's see, let me read this. So this is exactly 3 cups. So our inorganic mix didn't hold on to any of the water whatsoever. So in the interest of fairness and full disclosure, I do want to say that I last night before turning in, wet down both of the mixes thoroughly. And the reason that I did so was that I didn't want them to be completely hydrophobic. In other words, I wanted them to have a thin film of water because in general, we're not going to water our plants when they're bone dry, or at least I hope we don't. So I wanted to mimic that and also make it so that it really didn't drain every bit, but as it turns out, we have the same 3 cups of water, so our inorganic mix didn't hold on to anything. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to empty this out off of camera, and we are going to measure what came through in our organic mix, and we'll do that in just a sec. So okay guys, now we're going to do the same process with our bowl of water that came from our organic mix, and we're going to pour it in there, and what we're going to do is see what we have. So that's that bowl, and as you can see we have this, and I'm going to have to again lift it up. Oh, I can already see that we are at 2.5 cups for our organic mix. So what that means is our organic mix held on to an extra 4 ounces of water. There's still a little bit in there, and there is right there too, but it kind of proves that our inorganic mix doesn't hold on to any water, where it's not real dramatic, I will say that, but our organic mix really held on to about 4 ounces more water than did our inorganic mix. Okay guys, so this is a close-up of the 2 of them after they've been wet, so you can get an idea as to what they look like. You can see that the organic mix really has held on to some of the water, but it drains the water too, and that's why I like it. And you can see that yes, the total mineral mix, or the inorganic mix, has changed color a little bit, so that's my guess that it does have a thin film of water around some of the particles, especially if there's pumice in there, but certainly not to the extent that our organic mix will have. So okay guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed looking at this all mineral type of potting mix. And you know, it's really up to you to decide whether or not you want to use it. Now, you know, I've always said that the proof is in the growing, and if you use it and you like it and you get good growth on your bromeliads, number 1, don't stop. Number 2, why don't you do us all a favor and leave a comment down there. Let us know how it works for you. So no matter where you are, I hope your sun is shining. I hope you have an island breeze blowing. I know that no matter what potting mix you use, you and I need to keep growing and have lots of fun. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.